Let's get everybody in here real quick. Just guys, this is my first chance to actually get up on the microphone. I'm Mark Walters. I'm the guy that put the show on. So thank you for being here. And I want to say a huge thank you to Sean for taking time out of his schedule, because he's actually here to do a book signing, and so the fact that he made a little, detour to come see us, I think that's very, very cool. So big thanks to Sean Patrick Flanery. So Sean, your very first convention was right here in 2010. I invited you to come out for your very first convention, and you obviously must have liked some aspect of it because you came back to see us again. So thank you for
You're very welcome. Let's back up a minute. First of all, I met this dude in the fucking parking lot. He doesn't run this shit. Come on. He was wandering around there. He's like, I can't get in. I need a miracle. I'm like, come with me, buddy. I'm just kidding. He did invite me to do that was my first convention. Was here.
2010.
2010, so 6 years ago. And he's been a buddy ever since. You know where we met was at the Boondock 2 premiere at the Angelica?
Yep.
At the Angelica. Yeah. And we shook hands, and he said, hey man, I got this thing, you want to come? I'm like, holler, what, woo! I actually just said yes, but the story's not really as cool if I go, yeah, then I said yes. That was here we are, man. 6 years later, I came back to do it again because I'm here. I'm going immediately after the panel. I got to go to Barnes & Noble, Lincoln Park, to sign my book and do a little talk bit there. So he said, "Hey, I hear you're coming to town. Cruise by my convention." So here I am.
Yeah, and he's from Texas. You're born and raised in Houston.
Yeah. Come on, man. People, honest to God, hey, where else? Motherfuckers, we could toss our star up there right next to Old Glory. What other fucking state can say that?
No,
I mean, hey, I love America, but let's be honest, it's kind of Texas and it's 49 little bitches.
Yes, that's true. Yes.
Sing it, Sean, sing it! Come on, man. Texas is the only state that hollers its own name during sex.
True.
I applaud that shit.
By the way, this panel is rated R.
Hey, first of all, I scanned the audience. I didn't see any youngins because I'll hear about the shit out of them. Oh, really?
No, he's good.
Okay, solid. First of all, it's in my book, but I grew up with what's called PEs, profanity exemption. So if anyone else, I was like, that, granddad can take a pee. He's like, granted, motherfucking pussy. He's like, don't say that in front of the ladies. That's man talk, right? And I'll be honest. I never did it in front of parents. I never got in trouble in school because I knew what a motherfucking PE was. I never got hit as a kid because I knew what this shit meant.
Snap a point.
Anyway, homie, sorry for that profanity, but
No, you're good.
it was well constructed and bracketed and placed accordingly.
Are you kidding? He's gonna have a story for the rest of his life.
Yeah, exactly.
He was like, was just laced with profanity.
Let's start with your book, because that's what you're here for, Jane 2. Tell people a little bit about the book, and this is a very personal thing for you.
Yeah, it is. In a nutshell, it's something that happened to me when I was 10 years old. Don't worry, I didn't have my dirty bits dangled, diddled by the clergy or anything weird like that. When you hear that story, like something happened to me at 10, you're like, nothing like that. The girl I fell in love with when I was 10 years old, she was bouncing over my rear fence. They got a trampoline, moved in overnight seemingly, and I saw this beautiful brown-haired girl floating over my back fence. It's a story about that. It's a love story. It's a love letter to her. It's a love letter to my granddaddy, my family. It's a love letter to Texas. It's all the monuments on my timeline that made me who I am. I'm not saying I'm a great person. I'm not saying I'm a shitty person. But it's a pretty accurate roadmap. And that's something I wanted to write for a long time. Because originally I had it published in a magazine about 10 years ago. No, more than that. Wow. God, time flies, doesn't it? I've written for a few magazines, and Jane Pratt, the editor of Jane Magazine, contacted me after reading a piece that I wrote for Details, and she said, would you like to write something for my magazine? I had no idea what I could possibly lend to a woman's magazine. She said, why don't you write about your first kiss? And this was already in the back of my head, Jane Magazine. I said, oddly enough, serendipity, first girl that ever punctuated my consciousness and moved me to where I kept on going, her name was Jane. I'll write that story for you. I wrote it, a bunch of companies came out of the woodwork trying to procure the rights to it. I was very flattered, obviously, but I always knew I wanted to write it on my own. Took about 2 years off last year, and I wrote it, man. And for those of you guys that, I don't know if anybody knows, I have a blog, I write a blog. And the blog took on a life of its own. A lot of people started to respond to it and read it. And that's what gave me the confidence to say, man, you know what, I'm going to write this as a book. And I was just going to sell it on my blog site, really just to put it out there. And then I sent it out for some blurbs, and one colleague said, you have to get this traditionally published. He was very flattering again. He said, let me send it to an agent friend of mine. He did. She loved it, and that's kind of how it happened. Certainly, I didn't intend to write a book and get it published, go to Barnes & Noble and sign books. That's kind of, if you told me that 5 years ago, I'd be like, fuck off, you know. I'd say, mess off. That's a lie. I'd say fuck off, you know. You know, so that's where we're at. It's very important to me. And I'll be honest with you, it's something I'm really proud of, you know. Movies, if it goes wrong, you know, you can blame 100 people. You can only blame one person with a book. So there's a little bit more exposure there. Am I nervous? Am I kind of scared? Yeah, but fuck it. My whole life's been scary, you know what I mean? I'm prepared to be skewered. I understand people are going to meet, you know, an actor who wrote a book with an eye roll. I expect it. And I don't say that that's misguided, you know. I work with a lot of actors. Some of them can't fucking talk. You know what I mean? I get it, man. An actor wrote a book of, oh, that's cute. Anyway. But, you know, come on. But yeah, I'm very proud of it, man. And if you guys have an inkling, check it out. It's called Jane 2.
Very, very cool. Now, was your first acting job the Young Indiana Jones job? Was that when your first kind of foray into like a regular series type of role?
It wasn't, but it was definitely my first big job.
It was your first big?
I mean, Young Indiana Jones opened up every door that's open to me today. I wouldn't be here. You guys wouldn't be in a room wanting to ask me questions about shit I've already been compensated well for, which is its own gift in itself. Without Young Indy, you know, it's the truth is, going back to writing, I moved out to LA to be a writer. I wrote a piece of children's theater called Captain Coco, and I went out to wait tables, earn my money, because acting is subjective. You know, there's 8 people in a room that are going to decide if you get cast. You know, 2 of them, the Russian judge is going to give you a 6.5. You know, the Korean judge is going to give you an 8.9. The American judge is going to give you a 3.6. It's so subjective. You know, there's no rhyme or reason. I mean, you'd love to think that absolutely in any group of 10 judges, the same winner would be the same, but it's just not true. It's just not true. And so acting was a little, I'm not a fan of that. I'm not a control freak, but I like to, if I want to put all my eggs in a basket, I want to be in control of it. And I knew I could wait tables and earn money. And I knew I could rent out a playhouse. And I knew I could produce a play. That's up to me, nobody else. I thought I could write, and I thought the play would be successful, but acting was a little bit lower percentage. So I went out there to be a writer. And then an agent said, you know what, let me submit you on some commercials. And I thought, I mean, it's fair time if it supplements my income, cool, yeah. I got 3 national commercials, which pay really well, oh my God. And then she said, let me submit, after that, she said, let me submit you on some theatrical. I said, okay, cool. And then I got, you know, 2 little Disney serials for the Mickey Mouse Club, where we shot a 60-minute film, but they'd only air 7 minutes during the Mickey Mouse Club. So, or maybe 6 minutes, and like 10 episodes in a row to give a 60-minute show. So I did 2 of those, and then I got Young Indy. And I flew to London, so writing took a back seat for the entire time. And I'm very grateful. I love acting. I did not choose to move out for acting because I didn't love it. I chose to not move out because I'm afraid of anything that's subjective. I don't like leaving my future and the future of my kids, which I didn't have at the time, in the hands of judges. I don't like that. I just don't like it. I've seen enough fights to know, man, that can go any way. And there's no logic, rhyme, or reason, or rationale behind it. I like logic. I like it. So the writing took a backseat, but Young Indy was my first, to say big thing. It's still the biggest thing I've ever done.
Yeah, it was huge. I mean, I don't think people realize just what an immense production that was in terms of you guys were going to all these real locations and you were traveling nonstop, and it was crazy. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you know, it was the peak of my career as far as doing something important. It was probably the lowest of my career, according to how many people watched it, which is weird how that is. But you know, I think 17 people watched it, including my mom, which I counted 15 times. But you know, it's something I'm incredibly proud of, man. You don't get to work with Lucas and meet Spielberg in Prague, and that was crazy, man. I mean, I remember when I got off the plane, the first call sheet for the first episode. The call sheet is a list of the scenes that you're going to shoot, the cast members, what time they need to be picked up, what time they're in makeup, and you're looking at the call sheet, and it's Vanessa Redgrave, Christopher Lee, Elizabeth Hurley, Catherine Zeta-Jones, Sean Patrick, who the fuck is that? that's the guy playing the lead. Oh shit! You know, so it was kind of crazy. I was certain the entire time that I was gonna get fired. You know, I was waiting tables at TGI Fridays, and I didn't quit till 2 days before I got on the plane because I just couldn't. I was like, and I'll be honest, it was the easiest audition of my entire career because I thought. What are the odds that I'm gonna get this? So you go in the room and you're like, hey, what's up, man? What's up, George Lukey? Luke, that's him, man. They're like, are you ready? Hell yeah, I'm ready, man. You got some pages? I'll read this shit. Hey, you did Star Wars, motherfucker. That's cool. Oh yeah, I'll read the page. Sorry. Oh, you filming? That's cool. Yeah. You know. Then by the time it goes down the line and you're close to getting it, then you're like. How are you, Mr. Lucas? Good to see you. You know, because it becomes serious. It's amazing the freedom when you think, fuck this, there's no way I'll get this. I don't have a shot. I was over exaggerating. I wasn't like, Luke, man, good for you. I wasn't like that. But still, the distance of the possibility of you getting something gives you access to all of your talent. Like, you know, I equate the audition process to this. You know, Mary Lou Retton, gymnast. You watch her on the balance beam, she's doing double flips and gainers and everything else. Do you think she could do that if you took that balance beam and put it half a mile in the sky? No. Bitch probably couldn't walk from one end to the other. She'd fall off. That's the mental aspect of the game. You know, there's plenty of people that could beat her to the gold medal if you elevated it 200 yards into the sky. That's the audition process. It's not the best actor that gets it. It's the one who gives no shits. They don't care because they have access to 100% of their talent. Now, 100% of your 8 out of 10 beats 60% of the guy that has all 10 of his 10 all the time. And maybe that's why I got it because I thought there's no way I could get this. I got nothing to lose, you know. Whereas people that, you know, were trying, you know, the weight of the world was on their shoulders. But it was an interesting social experiment for me because the closer I got it, I was like, oh my God, I could actually. Maybe they picked me to do it. Holy, that'd be life-changing. And it was life-changing, you know? And I'm very grateful for that. I made a lot of great relationships. I met a lot of wonderful people. And for me, it was 6 years of film school. I asked nothing but questions the entire time. What is that? You keep saying key light. What do you mean key light? Okay, well, angular, the key is, and then they go fill, and then, oh wow, okay. You're loading the mag. What's the mag? The magazine. The magazine for film. Oh shit, can you show me how to load it? Yeah, come on, gotta go to the back of the truck where it's dark. Why does it have to be dark? Well, I mean, every conceivable question. If I wasn't on set, I was asking questions and finding out how they did this shit. You know, I worked with some amazing directors. You know, Mike Newell, there's Merchant Ivory Films, and Simon Windsor, and Vic Armstrong, and some of these greats. And it's rare that you're put in the same room with people that are elite at the top of their field. I didn't want to waste that opportunity than to pick their brain and find out how they got to that elite level. Even to this day, you know, I inundate myself. I'm a big fan of audiobooks, but audiobooks for business guys. Philosophers, thinkers, how they achieve that. You know, the Steve Jobs book. I want to know what was different about you, what made you the outlier. You know, but that was a wonderful experience because at every department head was somebody that was really great. Everybody had won awards for everything. And there's some dude from Texas that got to play, that I had 2 Mickey Mouse Club shows. I was so...
But those were really good Mickey Mouse Club
No, they weren't, brother. Thank you. But you know what I mean. It's just crazy how that kind of stuff happens. It's crazy. I'm very grateful for that. It was a wonderful experience. It was.
Well, I'm playing off of that, talking about like the audition process and whatnot. When Boondock Saints came along, what do you remember from that in terms of going in and reading the first time with Troy, and what were your thoughts and feelings towards that project? Because I mean, I could see you maybe looking at that maybe a little bit trepidatiously, like, is this going to work, or are people going to go for this? What was your first memory of that experience?
Well, first memory wasn't an audition. It was a meeting, and I met with Troy, and Reedus met with Troy, but he was also meeting with Marky Mark and Patrick Swayze. You know, those were the names that they were bouncing around. And for whatever reason, Troy really liked me and Reedus. And me and Reedus spoke about it. We loved the script. And we, you know, you say campaigned hard, but you can't really campaign against Patrick Swayze. If they want to you know, they're gonna make an offer to Patrick Swayze, they're gonna make an offer to Patrick Swayze. I can't really go, use me, I have no name, but, you know. So then, Duffy, with his own money, he funded a screen test where we shot a couple of scenes, and he brought it to all the higher-ups, and he presented it to them, edited and everything. And that's how he got these two no-name dudes to play the role. And it's you know, the films like that are why you get into the business. You want to be a part of a script that you're fantasizing about bringing to life, you know? I mean, there's 1,000 reasons to do films. Some are for the money, some are, I hate the script, but holy shit, I'd kill to work with Scorsese. Not that he has ever done a shitty script, but you know what I mean? Maybe you'll take hits in other areas to, shit, Scorsese, can't believe you do this film, but hell, you know. Sometimes it's for another actor. You know, holy shit, I get to be opposite Brad Pitt, okay, you know. And other times it's a whole story. You know, then they cast Willem Dafoe. It's like, holy shit, I get to be in a movie with Willem Dafoe. It's kind of crazy.
In a dress.
In a dress, even better. Scarier, fucking cross-dressing motherfucker. I'll wait. Fucking creepy. Come on. They'll sit Caitlin down as far as being creepy. Caitlin's delicate. Willem's like, fuck, man. I tell you, watching the dailies was like, that's fucking disturbing. That's fucking disturbing. Motherfucker was like dead serious.
Oh,
there's like one line. Everybody goes, Willem Dafoe, he's a method actor. Bullshit, not a method actor. There's only one line that he kept. You know, method actor means like, they only recite lines from the script. You gotta tell them their character name and everything else. Well, there's only one line that he would ever recite. And it was with fucking me, all the time. One fucking line. Remember the first night that I met him, we were eating pizza across from the hotel. And I ordered like margarita pizza, cute waitress came up. She was like, I was like, oh, no basil on that margarita, please, ma'am. And she's like, okay. And she's looking, Willem's looking at me, like looking at her, like, and she goes, and for you, sir? And he looks at me and he goes, fag. I was like, thanks, brother, thanks. Close that shit. He was a funny dude, man. He's like, you know, he's one of those actors that everybody takes really serious and thinks and he is very serious about his craft. What a genuinely nice human being, man. Just a solid dude.
Yeah. Now, for those of you that maybe aren't familiar with the story, Boondock Saints was one of those rare occurrences where the film didn't have success theatrically, but it had huge success on home video. Mm-hmm. That's where I picked up my copy of Blockbuster Video, and I still remember, I think I still have it at home to this day. And
you never returned it?
No shit.
No, I never returned it. No, what they did, it was, if I remember correctly, it was like one of the first times they'd ever done this. They would sell previously viewed movies, and it was like one of the first titles that they sold like exclusively.
They were like, be kind, rewind, or just keep it. Either one's cool.
But it was a huge success based off of that. And I imagine that for you, that's got to be kind of strange because it was a project that you probably, in some sense, had sort of kind of written off like, well, it was fun that we did that, but it's unfortunate it didn't have more success. And then all of a sudden, boom, it hits home video, and it's like a whole new life that's breathed into the thing.
Well, I'll tell you, it's you know, what you guys see is the tip of the iceberg. You guys see the handful of films that see the light of day. We've done countless films that no one's ever heard of. And oddly enough, there's things that I'm really, really proud of that no one's ever seen. I'd silence that one because it was misplaced. But in all honesty, here's a little note for profanity. Tell me who's prettier. There's a girl that's really pretty, or a girl that's fucking pretty. The second one's a supermodel, am I right? There's nothing that can replace that expletive. But PE's only, homie. You know, so when we do a film like that, it's not like we think it's going to come in theaters. We hope, but you do so many of those, and there's so many variables that come into play with whether or not they put a marketing campaign behind it, with whether or not it's going to go straight to DVD, whether or not it's going to be parked. So it's not like every film that you choose to do, there's hope in certain areas, and you think there's elements that could make this great. But like I said, with comparing a movie to a book, there's 1,000 things that can screw up a film. 1,000 things that can screw up a film. No one person can make a film. I don't care how great they are at their craft, they can't. It takes a lot of people doing the right thing to make a movie successful. And we made that, and when it didn't really come out, we thought, okay, we weren't shocked because it's rare that a movie does become successful. But there is no better marketing campaign than word of mouth. If your friend tells you they love it, that's a personal endorsement from somebody that you already understand their sensibility. And that's what happened. You know, and even to take it to another level, it's not somebody saying, you're gonna dig this. There was a visceral, personal ownership of Boondock. People literally would have, I got 5 friends. 4 of them don't fucking deserve to see it, but you. Don't tell our other 3 buddies. Watch it. You know, it was like that. It was like, you know, that one obscure band that you find from Glasgow, you know, and you just got the import way back in the day, and you didn't want to share it with anybody. You wanted everybody to go, where do you get it? Can't get it. You know, it's like that. So they gave it to their friends, and you know, it's like Fabergé organic shampoo. They tell 2 friends, and so on, and so on, and so on. Y'all remember that commercial?
Yeah. You're really dating yourself.
I'm old as dirt, man. I'm old. But that's how it happened. And there is no better feeling than that kind of success. If something does $200 million because it had a huge marketing campaign, people screamed in your ear to watch it. You know, but when people watch it for no other reason than a friend told them, that's a different type of ownership. You know, and there's nothing more flattering than that. There was no studio screaming at you to watch it. Silence. It was up to you guys. Somebody picked it up off the floor, dusted it off, looked at it, and said, man, this needs to be shared with special individuals. Nothing feels like that. No commercial success from a studio film feels like that. You know, I don't know how many Mission Impossible tattoos Tom Cruise has seen. Fucking hun. You know what I mean? I wouldn't imagine Mission Impossible. You know, there's Boondock tattoos, man. You know?
Everywhere.
They're everywhere. People have the tattoo. It's the prayer tattoo. It's, you know, I've never seen a powder tattoo. No, I never. You know? So they're very proud of that. You know, not once did somebody lift up their shirt and I'm like. I love that film, by the way. I'm not making fun of it. I'm actually incredibly proud of that. But it's a different type of ownership, you know. And Boondock had that life of its own.
Yeah. Another film I wanted to ask you about, because we've done a few Q&As before in the past, and I don't think I've ever brought this up to you, but I can't tell you how much I love Suicide Kings. I don't know if you guys are familiar with that movie. It's such an awesome movie. And it's another one of those gems that I love presenting it to people when they've never seen it before. And I just 3 or 4 days ago did an interview with Henry Thomas, and I asked him specifically about working with you. And I said, what do you remember about working with Sean? And he said, I just remember Sean was like the coolest guy. Like when he showed up, he had the coolest car, he had the coolest clothes, he was just the coolest guy on the set. And he was just very complimentary of you, you know. I mean, not at all in a like looking down on you way. Like he really thought you were just a really cool cat. And you know, I said, yeah, well, you know, you wouldn't believe what he's like now.
It's you guys turn porn.
But that's a great film. That's a wonderful.
Henry was a great dude, a really quiet guy. That you know, and I'm sure he's the same way now. He loved being by himself, but he was a great dude, and a killer subtle actor. Some of my favorite actors are subtle actors, and he's one of them. You know, it's just there's an element of believability to everything that dude says. Solid individual, had a great time doing it. You know, again, those are monuments on my acting timeline. Getting to work with Christopher Walken. I mean, you know, it's Willem Dafoe, Christopher Walken, Billy Connolly. There's a handful of guys. You're like, holy shit! I can tell my kids one day that I worked with that guy. You know, you're working with a guy from Deer Hunter. You know what I mean? I remember seeing that and thinking, holy shit! You know, and Christopher Walken was one of the highlights of my career because just on a personal level, I wanted to meet the cat. You know, there's not very many people that you know I want to meet. And I want to get a picture with this guy. It was like from Deer Hunter, Christopher Walken, like blew my mind in that movie. And it's some, you know, somebody said, and I've always thought about his career the same way. How does that guy ever get cast in a movie? Because I'll tell you why. How does he? Boggles my mind. Because there's not much that's real about it. If you went and ordered a burger and the guy was like, "Do you want cheese on that?" You go. You wouldn't believe him. You'd be like, "What? Why are you doing that thing?" Yeah, I want cheese, but why are you? You know what I mean? It's like, and somebody once said, "It's better to be interesting than believable." And that motherfucker is interesting. That motherfucker is intriguing. He opens it, you're like, what? I want to know what's going on. The cadence of the speech is completely irregular. He places pauses where you're like, I don't know if he's searching for the word or if he's waiting for me to fill in the You're hanging on it, and he's intriguing, but it's interesting because after working with him, I found out that if you transcribe what he's saying, there's nothing weird about him. Like everybody in here probably thinks, where's what weirdo guy? No. He's been married 28 years, he's a ballroom dancer, he's benign and kind of boring. He's a regular home husband, he's in love with his wife, and there's nothing odd about it. If you transcribe what he's saying, hey man, I got my wife flowers on Valentine's Day. That's not very interesting, but the way that motherfucker says it is interesting. You know what I mean? It's like, and it was kind of a neat experiment to watch him go through craft services and order food, and by the end of the shoot, it ceased mattering. You know, he was just a regular dude saying regular things, but he has this interesting way about it that's intriguing. You know, that was a really neat experience for me, man. It was.
Yeah. Let's get some audience questions. Who wants to ask a question here? Let's start here.
Yes, sir.
Who's the bigger clown on the set, you or Ritas?
Really? Seriously? Seriously? The whole fucking shit. Ritas? Come on, man. Ritas the whole time he's like, dude, come on, don't. The whole fucking time. You know what's funny? I have two best friends, Ritas and T. And Ritas could not be more different than me, which is interesting, you know? We're like puzzle pieces that fit each other. I couldn't be more different than Ritas. Motherfucker smokes. Disgusts me. Try to get that motherfucker to quit 24/7. You know what I mean? It's like we couldn't be more different. Which is interesting to me that we're so tight and close. I mean, you know, here's the thing. You know, on social media, and people, you know, see us. People see us in a panel, and I pick on it. But that's what men do. You know, men socialize by attacking their buddies when they don't really mean it. Women socialize by complimenting their friends when they don't really mean it. That's the truth. Fucking, you know I love Mark, because I'm like, you fucking dick. Come on, man. Fucking girl's like, oh my God, you look amazing today. You know, it's the truth. It's like, you know, I do all kind of shit to Ritas, but if any other motherfucker did that shit, I'd choke him the fuck unconscious. And he knows that. You know, it's that dude has more dirt on me than anyone alive. Thank God he does not a prankster, man. Because if he was me, he'd be like, all right, line up. I got some good shit. No, and I'll tell you this, man. You know, we've been kind of blue collar actors for a long time. We're working actors. Neither one of us have ever had a marquee name. We've done some shit we're proud of. Man, this dude's the biggest star on television right now. He is the #1 star of the #1 show globally. And I'll tell you, that motherfucker has not changed. I'm not saying that to fill the audience and like, let me pump up my buddy. Motherfucker is the same dude. And maybe it's because we're old enough now that we appreciate everything, but man, he's the same dude. And I couldn't be more proud to see that kind of success, but to see the way that he's holding on to it, and the way that he's receiving it, you know? It's good to see, because that kind of success tarnishes things and makes people make stupid decisions. But that cat is rock solid. He dresses the same. He's purchased the same shit. He lives frugally. It's a solid individual, man. Solid individual. So when I make fun of him, I make fun of him because he's my brother. Motherfucker's got his motorcycle in my garage. You know what I mean? It's like that level. It's not like, you know, we bump into each other sometimes. It's like he's my fucking buddy. You know, and yeah, I joke at him. And I smack him around, but I'd choke a motherfucker if they smacked him. You know?
Who else? In the back of the green shirt.
Kid to
Check and see if the shirt is green. That's how my day's going, too.
I've heard the story about the exploding cat scene, and there's a little bit of a backstory behind that.
Backstory on the exploding cat scene.
Well, cat scene, I mean, look, Rocco, very dear friend. Very dear, not like Rita's level, but he's a wonderful, soft, good-hearted individual. Obviously, I take advantage of that shit and fuck with him. That's how I was designed, you know what I mean? So we had this fucking air cannon that they were showing to us. The special effects guys are like, this is how we're gonna do the cat, you know, it's an air pressure splatter gun, whatever you put in it, it launches. I was like, whatever you put in it, it's like, okay. So I took that shit back down by what they call the beach in Toronto. It's fucking late, but they're like, we got a beach. I'm like, fuck you, you don't have a lake. You don't have a beach, you got a fucking lake. But anyway, if there's any Torontonians here, it's pretty late, but it ain't a beach. So I took it back there and I started throwing shit, ham sandwiches, we're launching shit. And it sounded like a fucking cannon. Boom! We were like, oh my God, this is radical! So on the day we're shooting the scene, we're filling it with spaghetti, tomato sauce, ketchup, all kind of crap. And Rocco comes up and he's like, Sean,
This is exactly how Rocco sounds too.
is it loud? I was like, no. It's not. You gotta act like it's really loud. And so Rocco's there, and he's looking to get a visual so he can react in sync with the visual, because he's not gonna be able to hear it. When that fucking 12-gauge shotgun shit went off, he fucking pissed himself. Literally, Rocco's like, oh, God! And swear to God, the minute it was over, he's like, Troy, could we go again? Because I wasn't acting. I was at that. And we're like, no shit, motherfucker. We shoot that once. That lives, motherfucker. What you see on that take is Rock pissing Rock. He was shitting himself, man. I can't help it, man. You give me access to shit like that.
That's awesome. Right here.
Part 2. How was it? Just
in reference to.
Oh, I'm sorry, Boondock Saints Part 2.
Yeah, but how was it in reference to?
Well, just because of course I know it's basically like public demand. I'm guessing, right? Or assuming that just because one was such a success after getting homes, 2 just kind of took off. How is that working with it?
I mean, they're all my friends, so.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's like it's not people I don't know.
Right.
So I mean, we're gonna have fun regardless. I mean, if you're asking, did I like it like one? Fuck no, of course not. I mean, one has a different guttural, dark, ugly,
Thank you.
necessary feel to it,
Right.
to me. And 2 is which it doesn't. It's not. I don't know. It's not. It's not the soul of the brothers and their pursuit, in my opinion. And part 3, the script is ugly and dirty.
Good.
There's the 3?
Yeah.
When you start filming?
You know what? We were supposed to start last. Regis' window's between November and April. We were supposed to start last, but it's odd. I was telling somebody earlier. There's so many variables that have to come together to get a movie made. And sometimes people get an offer for a film 2 years in advance.
Right.
So Willem wasn't available, so we pushed it. It's on everybody's priority list. Everybody wants to get it made.
Cool.
Yeah.
So it's going back to its roots.
100%.
Oh, yes.
Good deal. Right here.
Going back to your, that girl is cute, and that Julie Benz live, is she as gorgeous as she looks on TV?
You can't fake pretty. You know what I mean? It's,
exactly.
When everybody goes, well, in that movie they did. There's no makeup. You know what I mean? You put syrup on shit. It's fucking sweet tasting shit. It's she's fucking Julie Benz. I mean, everything she's been in, she's
fantastic.
Yeah, you know what I mean? You're not gonna walk down the mall and see her and not turn.
Right.
Now maybe your wife is fucking, but inside you're like, what? I mean, yeah, she's fucking beautiful. She's fucking Julie Benz. I mean, that's the best thing about this my job, is I get to work with some, oh my God. Like, growing up in Texas, I'd walk through the Galleria, and it's crazy how it is. It's like, and that's an intoxicating power. When a woman is beautiful, a lot of times it's just like I was talking about Ritas. It takes a special individual to stay grounded and stay a good person and not take advantage of the power. And it saps work ethic too, because I don't have to work hard, I just get shit for free, or I'll get hired because I'm, it does a lot of weird things to people. It's an intoxicating power, being beautiful like that. So it's always wonderful to see, good humans that are that aesthetically pleasing. You know, it's cool. And she's a solid chick. She's a solid chick, man. Solid chick. And I probably wouldn't tell you if she wasn't, but I wouldn't say she was solid. I'd just divert to some other shit. Sound chick.
Let's go right here, and we'll come to you next, right here.
If you could take anything back from Texas with you, what would it be?
If you could take anything back from Texas, what would it be?
I took it. I took it. It never leaves you. It's not in the dirt. It's in the people, man. My granddaddy stuck it in me. He planted that seed and it grew. You can't uproot that crap. It's a work ethic. You know, it's a cordiality. It's a love for people. I don't take advantage of that shit.
Anything else?
I think she meant like a toy or something.
Anything else physically that you would want to take with you?
Anything you would want to take with you that is like something in Texas physically.
Well, you know what? Let's be honest. There's nothing indigenous to this area that's really, really special. The fucking desert is amazing. There's beautiful deserts everywhere. The Gulf, come on, man. The Pacific sits it the fuck down. Texas is about the people. It is, you know? There's nobody that went to the Gulf and went, oh my God, I love this murky, dirty color. No one ever saw the brown sand and went, oh, this is just like salt. Fucking no one. I'll be honest with you. You know, I'm moving my family back to Texas because I love the fucking people. That's who I love. I want my kids to grow up the way I grew up, with the work ethic, with the sense of community, with the love. And you know, it's funny, man. I lived up in the hills overlooking the Capitol Records building. Killer house, beautiful, for 12 years. 2 people on the street I know. One's a housekeeper, the second. It's bizarre, crazy. The way I grew up, if somebody moved into the neighborhood, you brought them cookies, and you told them who your dad was. Well, my dad works at the Texaco station. If you ever get a flat, he's the guy. Can we help you move? You got a U-Haul? Do you need some? That shit would never happen in LA.
Yeah.
Never. And maybe it's because the transitive quality of LA. People give them time. They move out to LA and say, I'm going to give it 2 years. Nobody ever moved to Houston for 2 years. They're either going there to start their life and live their life. They got transferred with a company. But I'm not saying people don't move, but it's rare. When people move into a community subdivision, they're probably going to be there a long fucking time. I mean, the real estate market, houses are turned over every generation. In LA, every 2 years, man.
I had a friend of mine that was just posting about how there was a family of ducks crossing the street, and he stopped his car so we could get out and save the little ducks from getting run over. And I was just thinking, that would never happen anywhere but Texas.
It's exactly right.
It would not happen in LA. Like, they just mow the ducks down, you know, they'd be gone.
You know,
No, let's face it, they would.
Anybody that's read, you know, my book, it talks about sports a lot. And some of these guys I played with my whole life. If you go to a Texas high school football team, when they started playing football when they're 6, first of all, you're probably not going to find a football team in LA to ask this question to. But there'll be, how many people in high school did you start with at Pee Wee's? None. Because it's so transient, you know. I like the camaraderie of cheering for sporting events. And I'll tell you, the sports world is just as big of an influence on how I turned out as my math teachers. You know, if not more so. They taught me more about work ethic and a meritocracy and earning it and doing it on your own and not relying on anybody else. And also how to navigate the hierarchy of a team. You know, and that's, I'm not saying it's non-existent, but it's hard to find in LA. I'd love to give you something tangible, like I really want to bring back an F-150 Raptor from Texas, but the truth is, it's in me. When you're born and raised here, you take it with you, you know? And I'd like to knock on neighbors' doors and find some of it there, but it's rare, so I'm coming back home.
Fair?
Are you still able to recite the prayer from Boondock Saints?
Brother, it's a steel trap, come on. Let me one better you than that. In 1990, a couple of Young Indie episodes where I spoke foreign languages. You remember that shit? I remember all the languages. You remember that? I had to memorize that shit phonetically. I remember monologues in Russian.
Well, let's hear it.
Ik acțiun in Norden, aber ik corporal de Belgischen Parlamentier. Freue ich mich sehr, dass ich unter der französischen Außenstrufen helfe. Let's see. I mean, there's countless languages. I remember that. Oddly enough, that's one thing that comes easy to me. I made so much money waiting tables because I didn't have to write anything down. There's a lot of holes in my game, a lot of shit that I suck at, but that's not one of them. Memorizations. The prayer, of course I remember the prayer. Remember it verbatim, flawlessly. When people recite it to me, if they miss one little digit, I'm gonna tell them about it. I used to wait tables, and I would have my card, and they would be saying, okay, yeah, no cheese, but also, the potato skins with sour cream and chives. Could I get plain sour cream and chives on the side? Yeah, cool. And the bacon cheddar burger, could I have Swiss cheese on it? Absolutely. And super well like burnt, not medium rare. Yeah, cool. Table of 8. And then I go, okay, anything else? And I'd hold the card down. They could see that I was drawing a picture. And the guys are like, fuck, dude, right? Fuck, right? Are you shitting me? Right? Just please for me? I'm like, it's gonna come out all right. And then, when it would come out, they'd be like, take it, whatever you think, fuck. It's the truth, man. Long answer to your question, yes, I remember, brother, of course I did. Now, Ritas remembers 3 words of it. This is how Ritas does the prayer. And shepherds, oh Lord, command, and we shall move, flow to me, thee, to thee, and teeming souls shall we never, ever be. Expensive, I would drop this motherfucker right now. Speaking of which, guys, I gotta take off. I got a book signing at Barnes & Noble in Lincoln Park. But before I go, let me tell you guys, I swear to God on my mother's life, a lot of time I get on social media when you guys go out and go, oh man, you don't know what it means for you to come to these events. Fuck off. You have no idea what a lopsided relationship this shit is. You guys have no idea what it's like to have 50, 100, 200 people show up in a room to ask you questions about shit you've already been compensated with and probably overcompensated. This is my currency, man. Nothing, this quadruples a paycheck. Nothing feels as good as people walking up to you and getting a big ball of adoration and just smearing it on you. Nothing. I'm telling you, there's a lot of reasons to get into this business, but money is not it. It's because of this, man. I've had a lot of jobs in my life, and this is the only one that people want to stop me and tell me that I did a good job. And that fucking feels good, man. From the bottom of my heart, man. It's nothing moves me like that, man. You guys, some people from Austin, they went to the book signing last night in Austin, and some of them drove from San Antonio, and somebody came from Tulsa, Oklahoma. And I'm telling you, man, that fucking moves me. It's why I get up in the morning, man. So God bless you guys, and thank you guys a lot.
One of my favorite people in the world, Sean Patrick Flanery.